Welcome back to Empowerment Radio. We're talking about hydration with my special guest, Dr. Dana Cohen, who wrote the book Quench. And before the break, I mentioned that there was a little story with my wife who was at some point an avid glass blower, just like I also really enjoyed this great hobby. And, you're standing for a few hours in front of this, gory hole with 2,800 degrees heat just, glaring at you. And of course, you think this is dry heat, this is hot. So you definitely have to drink because you get easily dehydrated. Well, at the beginning, Danielle, who is afraid of dehydration, definitely drank quite a bit. And she gulped it down, especially those electrolyte drinks and those energy drinks, not the energy with caffeine, but with the Gatorades of this world. And so she just drank and drank and drank and drank. And then after one class, she came home and she said, I'm feeling so sick. I don't know what's going on. I'm feeling like I want to faint. I'm really just, she felt bad, almost like dying. And then all of a sudden, it came out of her. Gallons of that water just poured right back out. I mean, literally in orange color. It was not pretty, but afterwards she felt so much better. So I think what happened is something you can probably explain, right? And it's something that at the beginning of this program I talked about, that when we drink too much, we can actually hurt ourselves. So what happened to her? Why did she feel so bad, and why did she have to let go of this water?
Interesting. So, it's not as clear as you think. Did she vomited it up, or it went out
Absolutely, yes.
the other side? Yeah. Yeah. So, I think she may have had like a little bit of a heat stroke kind of thing though, too. Like, I don't know, I wasn't there. So that could have been something else. But, I think those kind of drinks, between all the fake, the sugar and the coloring and the artificial colorings, there's absolutely now better ways to do it. And we even give a little do-it-yourself sports drink in there that's much more natural and that kind of thing. But let's talk about drinking too much water.
Which I think exactly is what she did. I mean, she just
Yeah.
was pushing it in. And so what happens when we drink too much water, especially, water that is maybe not as rich in electrolytes?
Right. So specifically, plain or bulk water is what we call it. So regular tap water or filtered tap water, doesn't matter. When you're drinking that water and not replacing electrolytes and drinking too much, we're literally flushing out our own electrolytes. And I can't tell you how many patients who I ask, they're like, I drink water all day long. I'm good. I drink a ton of water. And then I ask them, do you get leg cramps? And they're like, yeah, I do. And it's because they're flushing out their electrolytes. So I think, and the other thing I want to say too, is I actually see this at least once a week in my office, where I'll do blood work on a patient and I'll notice that their sodium is low in their blood, which is, we always thought as physicians, if you have to drink so much water that you're flushing out your sodium, that's in people who have, diseases, cancer, and those kind of things. I see it at least once a week in people who drink too much water. So it's way more common than I think we're led to believe, that we're drinking too much water, flushing out our electrolytes. So the way that we combat that is put a pinch of sea salt in a couple. You don't need to do it in every single glass of water that you drink, but sea salt has the whole full range of minerals that we need, or there's electrolyte replacements. I'm on the board of something called Cure Hydration. It's actually a little packet of electrolyte replacement that's a wonderful product. There's a ton of them out there. And so that's how we help prevent doing that. But yeah, people who think, like I wonder if you as a kid, were you, just drinking so much water that you were flushing out your electrolytes without really knowing it. And the other way to not do that is by eating your water, because you're eating all the minerals and everything with it, as opposed to drinking ever more water.
Well, I'm definitely glad that you mentioned salt, because this is something that has such a bad reputation. And of course, it needs to be sea salt, which is available everywhere. But it is something that I think with the whole idea of salt being bad, don't use salt. I think there is a tendency for us to actually lose more of our electrolytes. And as you said, maybe also dehydrate ourselves from the inside out. And that's certainly something we have to keep in mind. Now, you have a whole section also about bottled water. Because it's $1 billion industry, it's like, you don't necessarily use tap water. Get your water that make you smarter and better. And what do you think about bottled water, and what do you suggest we should do?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a tough one. We need to get rid of the bottled water. We just need to stop. Like, it's ridiculous. We are ruining our oceans, our environment. We have to get those plastic bottles out of people's hands. Now, I realize, it's hard when we're in the airport, for example. We can't bring water with us
But we
in our
can bring
glass
empty
bottles.
containers, I mean, and then fill them
Yeah, but
up.
where are you going to? I wouldn't fill it. I wouldn't drink that tap water in the bathroom in the airport.
But they
I'd
have
be a little.
water fountains there. Are they good? Usually the quality?
I've never seen a water fountain in the airport. I don't know.
The thing that you push on and it spritzes out a little
Yeah.
bit. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's pretty common.
Yeah. I don't know. This is the problem. I don't know if they are filtered or not. And I would be a little leery. I don't trust, look what happened in Flint, Michigan. You can't trust the government. It's still happening that our water supply is tainted with lead, for example. There are things. So what we can do though is you want to drink filtered water at home. I don't tout any filters in the book. I send people to the Environmental Working Group. It's ewg.org. They have a list of filters that are affordable, whatever is in your price range. So that's where you want to look at for a proper water filter for your home. And you want to drink filtered water, you want to carry. I have a couple of beautiful, I don't have it right here, bottles that I love to sort of tote around, and they're glass bottles.
Yeah.
There's a great website called findaspring.com, which is, it's a lot of work, but you could bring bottles there and go and bottle your own spring water, and they're all over the world, these Find a Spring places. That's a lot to ask somebody, but
could be a cool vacation.
Yeah.
Just go from one spring to the next. Not bad idea for the summer. Yeah,
Exactly.
but I agree. We definitely have to be much more mindful with our bottled water. And just because we think we can recycle them doesn't mean it gets recycled. It just gets shipped to a different country that then tosses it right into the sea. So it doesn't really get recycled. And our conscience may be better, but the reality is still very dire, especially for our sea life. So yeah, I agree. Get the filter and use tap water. Now, I said before, what do we do at night? So let's say you want to be hydrated. It has been a hot day. We probably stayed in the air-conditioned room, lost a lot of our precious fluid. What do we do to not have to get up 50 times at night?
So the good news is, Mother Nature should take care of that. We make a hormone that is cyclical, and it's higher in the nighttime, and that hormone is ADH, or antidiuretic hormone. So when we're younger, that's why we don't wake up so much in the middle of the night to pee. As we get older, this hormone does get less and less. So that's why as we're older, we tend to wake up more in the middle of the night. I think we could, you have to, depending on your body, once again, it's all personalized. It's all individual medicine. So you need to know what's going to work for you. Maybe by doing a little chia seed or something, a green juice that's not so, bulk water, that may be able to hold it on to and make it through the night with just that. You're going to have to play around with it, and you're going to have to know, well, what time, if you wake up often in the middle of the night, then you may have to stop drinking at 9 p.m. or whatever's right for you. It's very individualized, and there's no one great answer to it. But a little bit of maybe an herbal tea, which is hydrating, could be something that you could do instead of plain water.
Now, besides chia seeds, are there any other slow releasing nutrition that we can use?
So fiber. So any kind of fiber is also gonna really help. So that's the idea of the green smoothie. Again, it's a blended vegetable versus a juiced vegetable.
Mhm.
You know, the juice, you're getting rid of the fiber, you're putting it aside. So you want to blend those vegetables because you want to keep the fiber. Is what that's how we define a smoothie in the book. It's not like a yogurt, you know, or an ice cream shake. It's a blended green vegetable with other things in it, like
So what's
ginger.
your favorite smoothie? What would you suggest as a hydration smoothie for the summer?
I keep it really simple. But there's over 50 recipes in the book, but I keep everything very simple. So whatever greens I have, I'll throw those in, and it could be spinach, it could be Swiss chard, it could be kale, it could be whatever. So whatever greens I have with water. So greens, throw in about some water. I like ginger. I throw a little lemon in there, and I'll do a green apple, half a green apple for sweetness. That's the easiest, and maybe chia if you want. Um, the easiest one that I just tend to do all the time because it's just I don't have to think about it. And then you can play
Oh,
around,
that
you know.
sounds really yummy. I'm
Yeah.
I'm thirsty right now. Maybe it's too late for me. I'm already dehydrated. That's not good.
I'm a
But
little thirsty too.
well, we'll right back after the break, and I want to talk about one thing that also was very surprising to me, which was about losing weight. Why is losing weight and hydration going hand in hand, and the opposite, of course? Why don't we lose weight when we are dehydrated? So stay tuned. We will be right back. Grab a glass of water or a bite of cucumber, and then let's tune back in. I have my special guest today, Dr. Dana Cohen, who co-wrote this excellent book, Quench, which I can highly recommend. So if you really want to take care of your body, if you want to learn a little bit more about simple ways to make yourself feel more vital and younger and look better through hydration, very simple. Read this book. It's a great summer read. I think you're going to actually get so much out of it. And even though I'm a physician, there were a lot of things I actually learned anew. So I'm very grateful for that, Dana. And it's very easy written. It's not something, complicated, or it's really something you can easily follow. Also, the advice is not hard. And I think you get it from the interview. It's all very, very user friendly. Now, Dana, how can people find you, find the book? How can they find out more about your work?
So my website is www.drdanacohen.com, DANACOHEN. So you could find I'm on social media, you can find it all there. The book is called Quench. It's everywhere books are sold, Amazon and Barnes and Noble as well. So yeah, that's how you can find me.
Excellent. Thank you. Well, tell us about weight loss. This is one of the subtitles of your book about
Yeah.
losing weight. So how is dehydration and weight loss, or not being able to lose the extra pounds, how is that connected to each other?
So there's a couple of key studies in the book that we talk about. One is, and most of the studies are very similar to this. So people who drank a glass of water before every meal after a period of 3 months lost 5 pounds more than those who didn't. So there's those kind of studies that are actually laid out. But I think the bigger picture and the bigger idea is that, which we didn't really talk about. So this proper hydration, when we find out what that ultimate proper hydration is, that is the point of all homeostasis in the body. So what that means is that our cells are living in harmony, and when our cells are happy, everything is running right. Energy is being produced. So I think it's the idea of this low grade chronic dehydration is the first in treating that, is the first step in preventing and treating chronic illness. And I think this obesity and weight stuff, there's some really good information and very interesting information that this may be the first step in even preventing diabetes and even Alzheimer's disease, which is now considered type 3 diabetes. So I think when you look at the big picture of things, yes, there's some great studies that just doing those simple things is going to help you lose those few extra pounds that you couldn't do. But I think before you embark on any kind of nutrition plan or whatever formal diet thing you may want to undertake for to lose weight, you have to start here. You have to know what it feels like to be properly hydrated, or nothing is going to work for you.
Well, it's possible also that when we are dehydrated, we have low energy, we like to get more energy through eating more, which we naturally do, and that also causes this cycle of just putting more sugar in to get a little boost, and just go in general much more into a sedative state where we don't move enough. And so it all probably snowballs into an imbalance that then I
Yeah.
can see
Yeah. And
causes illness.
yeah, I think exactly. I think so much of this is intuitive, like you said earlier, and some of the things that it is quite simple, and almost to the point where people are like, oh, I know that, I'm not going to read it. But when you really understand the whys, it pushes you to do better. And I think when you really understand sort of the science and some of the things that we lay out in here, it makes so much more sense, and you're more apt to do it, I think, in a better way.
Well, this is one of the things that I really also enjoyed about the book, is that it reminds you of listening to your body and paying attention to it. And you, as a integrative medicine physician, you certainly preaches to your patients all the time, but we are so disconnected from our bodies. We are not listening to the signals only when they're really painful or somehow really prevent us from doing the things we want. But there are so many fine symptoms and fine signals that we could easily attend to if we would pay a bit more attention to it. So just looking at that, hydration and signs of dehydration as a first step, I think that can really be so empowering in itself.
I think you just hit on something so important. Like, anybody who's listening, like, that is truly, truly key. We need to like, we're cut off from the next down. We're so cut off from our bodies. And I think that is huge. If we can teach patients that, like, whew, our job is done. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, it's also something that, I feel like we are, unfortunately not really getting well educated on what to pay attention to, because we are much more now in a society where there is a problem, take a pill, you don't have to feel it anymore. But it's not about gaining equilibrium. It's about chasing symptoms. So listening to the body is also, our responsibility. It's not something that necessarily every doctor will tell you, aside from doctors like you. That is something we have to study ourselves. So just taking a moment and really checking in. What does my body need? Does it need more rest? Does it need more water? Does it need more vegetables? Does it have to, tell you stop eating meat, stop eating, too heavy starched food, things like that. I mean, it's interesting. It's really, I had this awakening a few years ago where I really started to realize my body tells me every day, don't eat the German sausage. Did I listen? No. But at some point it was very clear, because, it really felt like every time I ate, I felt heavy. I felt like at night I couldn't sleep. So, I had to really pay attention. And since I listen to my body, I feel way better, much more young, much more vital. And certainly my next quest to be more mindful about is hydration. So thank you very much.
I love it. Thank you. That's awesome. By the way, the book is published in German. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, great. Well, for all the German listeners, don't worry. It's also in German. One thing I wanted to ask you also is, when you're thinking about aging, which is a big topic, and all the creams and all these hydrating little lotions we put on there, you have also a section about that I found very interesting, and how hydration makes a big difference.
It's funny because for some, it's estheticians. Those are the women who do facials and stuff. They have really picked up this book, and I hear from them all the time. Like, I recommend this to my patients. Like, skincare workers are the ones that know. Like, there's only so much we can do from the outside. It has to start from the inside. And I noticed it on myself. When I hydrate better, my skin is better. Like, it's sort of a known thing, and this is absolutely a way to get started looking better from that end.
But does it even work from your experience, these hydrating creams? Is this something that is actually in hydration from the outside in, or do we have to hydrate from the inside towards the cells, or can it be both?
I think it has to be both. I really do. I think, there's elements that we need to also protect, obviously protect our skin from the outside. I mean, the creams, I think, are temporary, but important also to protect. So yeah, I think it's got to be both. And technology with skincare is just, it's incredible, everything that's happening with it. And I can't keep up with it. I'm not a dermatologist. I should have been a dermatologist, but I'm not, because I love it.
Been a vet, as you said before this.
Yes. So yeah, but I think it has to be both.
Yeah. Well, if there is, since we are entering into the summer months, if there is one tip that you would just leave us with to pay attention to or do regularly to make us well moist inside, outside through the summer months, what would that be?
Yeah, I have to say it. I have to stress it. I think try drinking one green smoothie a day.
Mm.
And you could throw a little bit of fat in that smoothie too, meaning like some MCT oil or coconut oil, because we didn't even discuss fats. There's a whole section in the book about healthy fats and how important they are, specifically at a cellular level. We need fats for our cell membrane, and there's these channels in which hydration gets into the cell. They're called aquaporins, and that's all. Fat is. I have such a whole love of fat and the science behind fat, that I think a lot of science has gotten it wrong, and we're really knowing now that healthy fat is super important. So I think a green smoothie a day, add a little bit of fat to it. You will, if you don't do that already, you will absolutely notice a difference in energy. And yeah.
Well, I think you made a lot of people happy being allowed to eat some fat, some salt, and definitely drink coffee as well. And now we also know about other, even more healthy things about hydration. So thank you so much for being on the show. It was really so enlightening and important, and especially with the aspect of staying healthy and staying well and keeping the cells happy. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can just be done every day if we pay attention. So thank you so much for being on the show. It was really wonderful to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this was another hour of Empowerment Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in. You can, as always, watch the show again on my YouTube channel, Dr. Friedemann Schaub, or on my website, drfriedman.com. Until next time, take good care of yourself, stay cool, stay hydrated, stay well. Goodbye.